Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a really fascinating concept from our source text, The Architecture of Compromise. So, if you've ever been paralyzed by a big life choice or just exhausted by the constant pull of competing priorities, well, you're going to want to stick around for this. It's incredibly valuable. We're going to explore how we structure our lives not through flawless choices, but through the architecture of what we actually choose to give up. It's a complete paradigm shift in how we view the decisions we make every single day.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Is the pressure for perfection ruining your decisions? I mean, we have all experienced this, haven't we? Whether you're agonizing over a major career change, trying to pick the absolute best school for your kids, or honestly just stressing over the most optimal way to spend your weekend, the anxiety is so real. We get so caught up in finding that single, flawless answer that we just end up miserable. And our source material actually argues that this common anxiety comes from a fundamental misunderstanding of the actual mechanics of human choices.
Section 1. The universality of trade-offs, balancing competing priorities.
Because look, every single day we are bombarded with choices demanding our attention. To understand why decision-making feels so constantly overwhelming, we really have to look at how the text defines a trade-off. It calls it a cornerstone of decision-making that permeates every facet of human experience, demanding the balance of competing priorities. This isn't just some abstract economic theory reserved for college textbooks, you know. It's foundational. To choose one path is, literally, by definition, to walk away from another. It is a fundamental rule of our existence that we are always balancing priorities.
And this brilliantly illustrates how the concept scales across our entire existence. It applies to deeply personal choices, like dedicating a decade to climbing the corporate ladder at the expense of other areas of your lifestyle or relationships. But this exact same dynamic scales all the way up to massive societal dilemmas involving economics, the environment, and ethics. If a society chooses rapid industrial growth to boost the economy, well, it has to navigate the trade-off of environmental impact. The source makes it crystal clear. Whether you're picking a lifestyle or drafting global climate policy, the underlying architecture of compromise operates exactly the same way.
Section 2. Letting go of perfection and the illusion of definitive solutions.
Now, what's really interesting about this is an incredible insight from the text. There are no definitive solutions, but rather a complex interplay of gains and losses. Let that profound idea sink in for just a second. We spend so much energy searching for the ultimate fix, but the source explicitly tells us that there is no magical, frictionless answer waiting to be discovered out there. Every single choice brings something in and pushes something out. It's always an interplay. Recognizing this completely shatters the illusion that we can somehow outsmart the system and find a perfect solution with absolutely zero downsides.
The psychological contrast drawn from the text here is incredibly striking. On one hand, the pressure to achieve perfection is a heavy, stressful, and ultimately flawed human pursuit. It's a trap. It just keeps us frozen. On the other hand, we have this empowering alternative presented by our source, embracing the inevitability of trade-offs. Consciously accepting that you just cannot have it all suddenly gives you the clarity to choose what actually matters most to you. It shifts you from being a stressed-out victim of circumstance to being an empowered, realistic architect of your own life.
And there's a very tangible reward for this shift in perspective. As the text explicitly points out, alleviating this pressure allows for greater satisfaction with the decisions we make. It's a direct emotional payoff. Think about it. When you stop expecting a choice to be completely flawless, you stop being endlessly disappointed by its natural downsides. You can actually enjoy the path you've chosen because you deliberately and rationally accepted its costs up front. You essentially traded the fantasy of perfection for the reality of true satisfaction.
Moving into Section 3, building a resilient mindset and the resilient payoff.
Let's move to and see how this actually builds. How do we take this awareness of sacrifices and use it to construct a stronger mindset? Well, according to the source, embracing trade-offs triggers a sequential cascade of positive benefits. First, as we just covered, it alleviates the crippling pressure of perfection. Next, dropping that panic fosters deep adaptability and resilience when circumstances inevitably shift. From there, having a clear head leads to making deliberate decisions rather than reactive ones. And finally, and this is huge, it remarkably increases our appreciation for the resources we do have.
By adopting this more nuanced perspective on the sacrifices we have to make, we're no longer flying blind. The source emphasizes that we must evaluate options critically by considering the potential consequences of each choice. When you know a loss is a guaranteed part of the equation, you can weigh it properly against the gain. You're looking at the whole picture, the whole shebang. And this is exactly what transforms a panicked, reactive guess into a highly informed, thoroughly deliberate decision.
So the crucial point is that ultimately, this shift in mindset brings a greater appreciation for the opportunities and resources available to us. By actively recognizing that choosing one path meant willfully giving up another, we just stop taking our current reality for granted. We know what it cost us to get here. Accepting our gains alongside our inherent losses doesn't make us cynical. The text tells us it actually makes us deeply grateful for what we do have, right here and right now.
Which brings us to the end of our analysis. Based on the profound framework we've unpacked today from the architecture of compromise, I want to leave you with this final thought to carry with you. If every choice genuinely involves a sacrifice, what are you willing to trade today for a better tomorrow? Thank you for joining me for this explainer. Keep evaluating, embrace those inevitable trade-offs, and as always, keep learning.